Seems like we've been here before. It's Rangers Capitals in the first round of the playoffs. Let's talk about it. Well, welcome back to New York Sports Wicker Media. I'm Watch2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. If you're brand new, welcome aboard. Please like and subscribe. If you're returning, welcome back. I appreciate everybody's support. All right, let's talk a little more NHL playoffs. We've already done a video on Islanders, Hurricanes. Now it's time to talk about Rangers versus Capitals. First round series. These teams have played each other many times over the years in the playoffs. This is going to be their 10th playoff meeting in history. The Rangers have won 5 of the previous 9, and that includes the most recent series in 2015 when the Rangers rallied from a 3-1 series deficit to win in 7 games. Derek Stepan with a very famous overtime goal. Now, we look at this year. The teams have split 4 games, each team winning at home, and I got to start up by giving Washington some credit. Very few people had them making the playoffs this year. It looked to be a rebuilding season. And, they came out of the All-Star break 7 points out of a wild card spot with a lot of teams to jump. They had to leapfrog 4 teams, as a matter of fact, to get back into the playoff picture. Then they appeared to wave the white flag at the deadline. They traded Evgeny Kuznetsov to Carolina. Anthony Mantha was traded. Joel Edmondson was traded. But you know what? They've got a true, tried, and tested core. It propelled them, and they clinched a spot right at the end with a win over Philadelphia. But you look at where some of these players are. Johncarlson, great defenseman, 34 years old. Tjoshie is 37 with a terrible back. And Alexovechkin, one of the best goal scorers we've ever seen, is now 38 years old. Spencercarberry, give him credit. He stepped in as coach. This was a coach the Rangers kind of flirted with briefly a little bit during the offseason before going with former Capitals coach peterlaviolette. And Carberry is developing a new generation of talent that includes forwards Hendrix Lapierre, who centers maxpacioretty and Sonny Milano. Pretty good line there. Alexei Protas and Connor McMichael, and defenseman Martin Feherty. He's also seen a career year from center Dylanstrome. He led the Capitals this year with 67 points. Now, here's the thing with Washington. This is not your big brother's Capitals who score a ton of goals. All right, Nicholas Backstrom's not here anymore. Alexovechkin, as we mentioned, is a good deal older. All right, a lot of their goals are going to come from right in the front of the net. And this is what helped them go 9-5-1 during the month of March to get back in contention. So to me, the Rangers have to keep the crease cleared. They got to keep the Capitals out of the front of the net. They have to make it as easy as possible for Igorshesterkin. They don't want traffic in front of the net. But one Capital still around, who I have to mention, is our old buddy Tomwilson. We know there's plenty of bad blood going back to 2021, even before that, but especially in 2021, when towards the end of the season, a year where the Rangers missed the playoffs, the Capitals absolutely manhandled the Rangers. The Islanders did as well, to be honest. But the Capitals are what sticks out in everybody's mind when Tomwilson just ragdolled artemipanarin and nobody seemed to step in to do a thing about it. Right after that, John Davidson, the president of hockey operations, and Jeff Gordon, the general manager, get fired. And that led to sort of a new era with the Rangers with Chris Drury as GM. So the Tomwilson factor leads to the biggest lineup question. Now, we're not going to have any answers on this until game time, but will mattrempe play for the Rangers in the series? And to me, you absolutely have to play him. To me, mattrempe plays. He's in the lineup until he plays his way out, whether it's taking a stupid penalty, a very costly turnover, something like that. Now, I'm not saying mattrempe should be playing every game, every series. If the Rangers were opening the playoffs against, say, a Tampa Bay, a Pittsburgh, Detroit, a team that is more skill-oriented, I wouldn't be banging the drum as hard for Rempe to be playing. I'd be fine with, say, Johnny Brodzinski or somebody like that. But against a primarily physical, grinding team that has the potential to throw a few hits out that may be a little bit questionable, you have to respond. And there is nobody on the Rangers roster that can respond on the level of Matt Rempe. Now, if we look at some of the matchups here, the Capitals have been a surprise this season. We give them credit, but they just don't seem to match up with the Rangers. I'll give you some point totals. The Capitals' top 3 centers are Connor McMichael, Dylanstrome, and Hendrix Lapierre. They have played in a combined 13 playoff games. If you include the fourth-line center, Nick Dow, that totals 39 games. You look at the Rangers' four centers, Mikazibanejad, Vincent Trocheck, Alex Wenberg, and Barclay Goodrow. They have played 221 playoff games. Let's go a little bit further. The Rangers have 5 players who have scored 72 points or more this year, including 120 points from Artemipanarin. Washington does not have a single player who hit the 70-point mark this year. Now, Alexovechkin is a legend, but he is 38 years old, as we've said, and in his playoff career against the Rangers, hadn't been all that great. 13 playoff goals in 33 games. The Capitals, as a team, in their last 10 games, have scored 2 goals or less. 2 goals or fewer, I should say, in 9 of those 10 games. Not only that, they've scored 2 goals or fewer in 42 of their 82 games this year. Here's the biggest offensive stat for you. The Capitals ended the regular season with a goal differential of minus 37. That is not only the worst of any playoff team this year, it's the worst of any playoff team in the salary cap era, which goes back about 20 years. So how does Washington possibly pull off the upset? The only way I could see realistically is if their goalie, Charlielindgren, stands on his head. He is, of course, Rangers defenseman Ryan Lindgren's brother. Lindgren, Charlie, is 30 years old. He only really started to emerge last year. He spent 6 or 7 years primarily playing in the AHL. This year he had a great season, 25, 16, and 7 record, a .911 save percentage, and 6 shutouts. 6 shutouts, tied for the NHL lead. But against the Rangers, he's been really good. A .955 save percentage, a 1.35 goals against average in 3 career appearances, including a 4-0 Capitals win on December 9th, which I was in attendance for, and oh my God, I was out of the Capital One Center before the second period was over. That game was an absolute washout. It's the only Ranger game I attended all year, of course. All right, now with the Rangers, they recorded a stellar 26-8-1 record over the last 35 games. You know, they clinched the President's Trophy. They needed pretty much every point to get it, in my opinion. And I think the coaching change is just what they needed. There were a lot of questions about bringing in peterlaviolette. I don't want to retread. I want our guy. But he seemed to have been exactly what the doctor ordered. The Rangers have scored 54 goals with the constructed line of Artemipanarin, Vincent Trocheck, and Alexei Lafreniere on the ice at 5-on-5. 54 goals for that unit. No other line in the NHL has more than 46. That's how good they are. By the way, I will be recording a separate video just talking about Artemipanarin and what he's going to be doing in the playoffs, about why this is his time. That'll be up by Saturday. Check that out, too, if you're interested. Back to the regular scheduled program. But as great as that line is for the Rangers, they need more. You know, Mikazibanejad and chriskreider have not had a very good season, especially playing 5-on-5. But the good news is those 2 players, along with Jack Roslovic, acquired from Columbus at the trade deadline, might be starting to come together against Ottawa in the finale. Kreider had 2 assists, Zibanejad had an assist, and Roslovic scored the opening goal of the game. That was his first goal since April 1st. Okay, and he'd been benched since then. Seemed to be maybe a little bit of a wake-up call. He said that provided some motivation for him, and now he's finally found the back of the net again. Let's see what happens in the playoffs. But for the last 6 games, Zibanejad's been heating up a little bit, and he's been under some scrutiny this season by a lot of Rangers fans for having a bit of a down year. But in those last 6 games, he has 8 points. Kreider has 7 points in the same 6-game stretch as well. Now, one of the wild cards here is the possibility that their center, Filip Chytil, might actually be returning. Just about everybody, including myself, had thought he was done for the season. That had been what we were led to believe with concussion issues. He is practicing again. That much has been confirmed, full go. You know, he's not wearing a non-contact jersey or anything like that. I don't even want to think about him as being a factor in the series until he's actually in the lineup. But could you imagine? If he came back, could you imagine the Rangers' top 4 centers, Zibanejad, Trocheck, Chytil, and Wenberg? You know, maybe you make a new kid line with Chytil at center, Will Cooley on the left, and Capo Caco on the right. That would be unbelievable. You know, no one in hockey could match that level of depth at center. And then, of course, on defense, Adam Fox averaging a point per game, 73 points in 72 games. You know, a lot of people would say Fox has not necessarily been at his best either, but he's still averaging a point a game. And, of course, you have Igor Shesterkin, you know, in goal. Vezina Trophy winner 2 years ago, Hart finalist as well. Hadn't quite been on that elite level maybe the last 2 years, but probably still a top 5 goalie in the sport. And what I'm most excited, what I'm most encouraged really about with Shesty is he has improved his level of play as the year has gone on. Had a rough stretch in December, but he's come out of it. Overall, Shesterkin has a record this year of 36 wins, 17 defeats, 2 shutout or overtime losses, and a .913 save percentage. Since the All-Star break, though, his record is 17-5-1, a .930 save percentage, and he's been dominant in the last 2 games in particular against the Islanders and the Senators. And in the playoffs, he is 6-2 when the Rangers are facing elimination. All right, let's make a prediction on Rangers Capitals. The key for me in this series, as I mentioned before, I keep coming back to the Rangers' defense. Jacob Trouba has said it himself in an interview on Thursday. The key is defense. Washington is going to try to out-physical the Rangers in the series. They're never going to win a track meet with the Rangers. They're going to have to annoy and harass Igor. Okay? The Caps are going to have to grind for victories in low-scoring games. So to me, I got to see defensemen like Keandre Miller, Eric Gustafsson, guys who are not necessarily known for being physical, get a little extra rough and tough in front of the net. Okay? They need more than just Ryan Lindgren and Jacob Trouba to play physically. All right, to make sure that they win the series. The Rangers are a better team in just about every way you can imagine than Washington. If the Rangers play how they are capable of playing, I think this is a short series. Last year in the playoffs, in the first round of the 8 first-round series, only 1 series ended in 4 or 5 games. I think it happens here, and I'm going to pick the Rangers to win the series in 5 games and advance to the second round against either the Hurricanes or the Islanders. And if you haven't seen it already, I've done a Hurricanes-Islanders preview. Who do I have winning that series? We'll check that one out, too. I would definitely appreciate it. All right, guys, that is enough for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you right back here with more content from you-know-where, the Wicker Chair.